This is breaking news from News 8.
Topping today's Sunrise Smart Start, that scene breaking overnight, a young man recovering after a shooting here in the city. That man is expected to survive. The shooting happened just before 11:30 on Ravine Avenue and Maryland Street. As police continue to investigate, they say the 22-year-old victim is not helping them as much as they would hope when it comes to following up on leads. They're asking anyone who has any information about that shooting to please call 911. Looking ahead, happening today, it is the sentencing for the man who murdered 10 black people at the Buffalo Tops last year. It was 9 months ago yesterday. Peyton Gendron opened fire at the store on Jefferson Avenue. He pleaded guilty to the state charges. That was back in the fall. Jatira Marsh joins us in the studio with a look ahead to the sentencing. Jatira.
Brennan, the 19-year-old is expected to be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This is the state case against Gendron. In November, the Tops mass shooter pleaded guilty to domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate in the first degree, 10 counts of murder in the first degree, 3 counts of attempted murder in the second degree as a hate crime, and criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. Gendron is expected to apologize for his actions at his sentencing after family members of the victims have a chance to share their victim impact statements. One relative whose mother was killed in the attack says he feels an apology would be an insincere attempt to avoid the death penalty in the federal case. Still, an attorney for some of the families says hearing this from a defendant isn't uncommon. In addition to the state charges, Gendron has also been indicted on 27 federal counts, including 10 counts of hate crimes resulting in death. If convicted in federal court, he could be sentenced to death. His next federal court appearance will take place tomorrow. Brennan.
All right, thank you, Jatira. We'll have updates on both on RochesterFirst.com starting today, that state sentencing, once we get word from the courtroom. Happening tonight, a public input session in Penfield where the town is exploring a proposal to turn the historic Clark House on the Shadow Pines property into a new event space. It sits at the corner of Wayland and Clark Roads. Officials with the town say part of this plan to turn the property into a new space ensured the preservation of the historic part of the building. Adding it includes renderings from Bergman Architects. The use, demolition, and renovations of the whole project are still being worked out. Today is dedicated to all the singles out there after Valentine's Day. In honor of that, Lollipop Farm is hosting a singles appreciation event running from 11 to 5. The goal is to celebrate pets that prefer to be loners and don't always enjoy the company of other animals but still need our love. Adoption fees are waived for the day. Sounds like a great plan, James. Go pick up your new forever friend and head right out to the park.
Yeah, it's just out there in Egypt, so many open spaces, a lot of great parks over in that direction. So yeah, swing by there, check out a pup, maybe a cat, and enjoy it. 52 degrees. Brennan, we are 23 degrees warmer than we were yesterday morning at this time. Just absolutely wild out there. And it's going to be so warm this afternoon. Do want to mention this. Wind gusts sustained 20 to 30 miles per hour at least through this afternoon. I think it's going to be no problem to gust over 40 miles per hour at times. You're across Niagara Frontier, maybe over 50. We'll have the 8-day forecast at the end of the show. Brennan.
Thank you, James. A look at the roads again with this morning's sunrise traffic. No accidents to report of so far. See everything starting to pick up halfway through this work week with the rush hour. To a developing story, Ogden police are busy investigating this violent video we've seen from Cosgrove Middle School in Spencerport. It happened this week, and the video shows one student picking up and body slamming another much smaller classmate to the ground. The video made the rounds on social media, sparking outrage from families. Police tell us they are working closely with the district and the victim, as well as the victim's family, to determine the best course of action and to ensure justice for that young victim is attained. Rochester police have started handing out these free steering wheel locks to Kia and Hyundai owners who live in the city. They're being distributed at each of the neighborhood service centers in the 4 quadrants. The department first gave the locks to recent victims of car theft. The current round of locks is going out on a first-come, first-served basis. Important to note, they are going very, very fast. RPD is asking you call ahead of time to make sure they still have some to give out. Other departments are doing the same. With all the stolen cars, the carjacking, smash and grabs, and acts of violence on school campuses around the county, the head of an anti-violence organization is calling for a bipartisan solution to crime. Clay Harris, founder of Uniting and Healing Through Hope, issued a general call to county lawmakers last night to make a more concerted role in saving lives and reducing all the violent crime.
But now it's time for you guys to work together to save lives. all over the county, not just the city, not just in Pittsford and Perrington and Greece and Henrietta. We have violence in many different forms all over this county. And the county legislatures, you're in a district, you may not be in a district of the city, but you're a part of the city.
Speaking of Rochester, Harris says he plans to make the same plea to the mayor and city council members here. Bonuses got approved last night at the county legislature meeting to help keep employees on staff and to pick up some new ones. Under this new bipartisan agreement, Executive Adam Bello says the quarterly bonus jumps from $500 to $1,000, a grand total of $7,000 through October of next year. This applies to any current and future employees who aren't in management and comes at a time where unemployment rates are still very, very low. The next steps are being talked about in the investigation into the sudden death of the 6-year-old giraffe at the Seneca Park Zoo. The giraffe, as we told you, broke his neck in its enclosure over the weekend. The Association of Zoos and Aquariums says it typically asks for a final report from a zoo when something like this happens to assess if any in-person follow-ups are needed. We have reached out to the zoo staff for more information. We'll share those updates as they come into our newsroom. Rochester city leaders have announced a new $1 million project they're hoping to use for a program called Centering Youth, acknowledging trauma and healing through public art. The goal is to bring more art into neighborhoods in need, giving kids an outlet during hard times. City officials named a number of other arts-oriented projects to come. It's also expected they'll announce a call for art for its Arts Bloom project next month, and they explain some of their goals.
We are indeed a city of the arts, but we want to be more than that. We want to be a city for the arts as well, which means all of us, all in, ramping up our support for artists and arts organizations.
Rochester Mayor Malik Evans added the city did set aside more than $200,000 for arts projects. That's in the budget for the current fiscal year. And finally, this Wednesday morning, some interesting new opportunities for certain college students. Danville Community College and Everett University out of Virginia are partnering to offer a new aviation mechanics program. Now, some of these have been training future pilots for 40 years, but never had a maintenance course. School officials say over the next decade, the aviation mechanics profession is set to grow by at least 6%. That translates to about 13,000 jobs all over the country. Get involved with some planes there, James.
Yeah. Diesel mechanics is a big one as well.
Yes. That's demand everywhere, and that pay is pretty good as well, too.
I'm telling you.
You know it's not bad?
Yeah.
You step out to the bus stop and it's above 50.
Oh, it's just incredible out there. Yeah, over 20 degrees above yesterday. Bus stop forecast here starting off in the 50s. Yes, we are in the middle of February. A breezy, record warm this afternoon. We're going 64 later today. Enjoy it, soak it in. Don't get blown away because it will be very windy. But otherwise, the temperatures fall down into the 40s tonight and then eventually into the 30s. I think I spent Thursday. A lot of Thursday is spent in the 30s. There we go. Afternoon showers. Keep an eye out for Thursday night and into Friday. We're going to highlight that section of the forecast because that could bring some wintry weather. Maybe some ice in there as well. So Friday morning's commute could be slick with that wintry mix. Weekend looks great, though. Mostly sunny Saturday. It's partly cloudy on Sunday there as well. But let's get out to the parks today. Let's go on walks. Let's enjoy it while we can.
One shot, that is today. Yep. Get out and enjoy it if you can. Thank you, James, and thank you so much for spending your morning with us at News 8 at Sunrise. We'll see you back here in half an hour. CBS Mornings, next.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.